Joining us now here on In the Circle, she's a national champion and just got back from attending the ESPYs, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, leading Oklahoma to the national title in 2021. She's back in Florida. She's got a clinic coming up here, pitching lessons coming up. I speak of Shannon Saile, who joins us now here at In the Circle. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about all the fun things you just said.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. You're very busy. Let's first start with what you've got coming up. Tell us a little bit about the pitching clinics you've got. You got a pretty cool deal coming up here on the 25th here. Tell us about it.
What I've always been passionate about is teaching and leading the next generation into what I love and growing the sport. I've made really good friends with Amber Pfizer. She's one of my pro teammates now, and she also wants to get into pitching clinics. And my friend Callie Turner, grew up playing with her in high school. Just two really great people alongside me to lead my first clinic. It's really exciting, and I think what other place to start it than where I grew up playing Little League. That's what the where it all began slogan comes from, is I want to start them in Land O'Lakes and then eventually get them out to different states, reach out to other influential pitchers and be like, hey, I'm going to be in your city in a few months. Like, let's do a pitching clinic. I've already gotten contacts from people from Utah. They're coming out, and it's very exciting. It's going to be a very big and fun camp for these girls. There's going to be fun little t-shirts for them to take home and wear, and just learning Shannon's rise ball, Amber's curveball, Callie's changeup. It's going to be a lot of fun for these kids, and I really think if you're a pitcher in this area or from Utah, it would be really awesome for you to come out and meet some of All-Americans, national championships, high school All-Americans, high school All-State winners. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be Sunday, July 25th. It'll be held at the Land O'Lakes Rec Center up at 3032 Collier Parkway, and a couple sessions available. And then where can they find more information?
They can email me at shannonsailepitching@gmail.com. And just so everyone knows, it's Saile. A lot of people don't know my last name spelled with an I and an E. So that is my last name. So reach out to me. I have a flyer. I have a registration form for everyone to sign and fill out. Or you can just DM me on Instagram. I'm okay with that too. I'll get back to you. And there's a Facebook event that you can look up, and it will be right there, and you can find a way to message me on Facebook, and then I will be able to reach out to you myself.
How long have you been thinking? You mentioned you want to do this kind of eventually take it, national, if to different places and things like that. Is this something you've always wanted to do? Is this something that just kind of came up? Was this kind of your post softball plans?
Actually, no. Before I got to OU, I was kind of anti-coaching, anti anything after softball. But once I got to OU, Coach Gasso and Coach Rocha really influenced me into coaching. I really love their coaching styles, and I love the kind of people they are outside of softball. So they really influenced me to become, to just stay with the sport and stay coaching. And this summer, the FGCL league has really influenced me as well to coach. It's just become a big passion of mine, a big love of mine, and I love growing the game. I think that's what's most important now, is to keep the game growing while we're on this track.
What's the biggest thing as you do the clinic that a young person will learn that maybe they don't know going in? What's the biggest key thing that you want them to get when they get there and they leave? They're like, wow, that was fun, but I didn't know about pitching.
Well, I think hip delivers the whip is just my favorite saying right now. We really got to use our legs. And I mean, I'm a small pitcher. I'm only 5'7". That's not tall per standards of a pitcher. So I'm going to teach them how I can be so powerful, and how I can bring the ball so hard, how I can spin my rise ball so good. I want them to learn I'm not going to give away my secret sauce right now, because I want them to come and learn it themselves. But they're going to learn some drills that they probably may have not known, or they're going to learn how different finger pressures are going to make a pitch spin differently, or I want them to learn, most importantly, the mind of a D1 pitcher and what it takes to get there if that's what they want. I mean, some of these girls may not want to play college, but the girls that do, that come to the camp, they can learn what it takes. We're going to have Amber Pfizer, All-American, myself, a national championship, and Callie Turner, who was, she's going to a new school this coming year. And I don't want to, I don't know if the NLI or whatever, if you can say that stuff, but I really am excited for her to be at this camp as well. So, yeah.
Now I just mentioned you just came back from the ESPYs.
Yeah.
Describe that experience. What was it like? I know you were there as representing Oklahoma alongside your teammates. They were, nominated for Team of the Year. What was that experience like to be in New York for the ESPYs?
It was really exciting. I was kind of nervous. I think anyone that's never been to a red carpet event would be nervous, but it was really cool to meet some of these female athletes, especially, and see how down to earth they are, and see how their platforms, they use them so well. And it was just a really great time meeting these people, seeing that, we're all just people too. And I mean, Tim Tebow was there and I look up to him. I look up to Sarah Fuller, who was the first kicker for our first female kicker in D1 football. So it was just almost like, wow, I'm surrounded by these amazing athletes. It was a very humbling experience and something that may not come around again. So I took it all in.
That's pretty wild. Did you get to talk to Tim Tebow or any of these people? Did you get to meet him?
I briefly saw him when it was raining and we had to go inside, but yeah, I was surrounded by Giselle and Jossie the whole time. So we were just staying in our little corner, but it was cool. It was really cool.
All right. So how did that come about? Where you're like, hey, you want to go to the ESPYs? Like who got because you mentioned it was you, Jocelyn and G that went to the ESPYs represent Oklahoma. How did that all come about? Like I'm always been fascinated, like how the invite comes, because I know they're limited. So how did that all come about, and what was your reaction when you got the invite?
I think Coach wanted seniors to go, so that was, and then since Mendy's she's in Tokyo right now training for the Olympics, she wasn't able to go. So that's how we got invited. We were representing the team as seniors.
That's pretty cool. You mentioned Coach Gasso and Coach Rocha giving you the passion to kind of coaching and stuff like. What is it about them? Because you're not the first person to have said that on this podcast. The coaching tree that Coach Gasso has is very well known. What is it about them, having played for them, that gives these players a passion that they want to get into coaching afterwards? I mean, Sydney Romero's doing that. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's too long of a list to go into it now, but you know that list very well. What is it about them that drives people to get into coaching and teaching?
I think it's because they teach us more than softball. They teach us how to become women, girls to women, like Coach always says. And she really does. And I want to keep that going with the sport, because I've been at schools where it was nothing like that. And then I've been at schools where they really care for you as a person more than they do as an athlete. And I think that is what's going to change the game. Absolutely. Like having a coach that is just influential in your life and helping you grow into the human you're supposed to be is something that inspires me. And that's why I want to get into coaching. Not only do I love teaching the fundamentals, the mechanics, and teaching the analytical strategy of the game, but I also love being able to one day recruit the players that I want to, and then help them grow into women and prosper outside of college. That is something that I really look forward to. And it's really, like, they're just really great people, and they make me love the game and make me want to grow the game.
Is college coaching something you would consider doing down the road, or high school coaching, or do you just like to have your own clinic lessons and not get into the college coaching? Have you thought about that? I mean, you're still very young, so you got plenty of time to figure that out.
I do want to be a college coach. That is the end goal. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. You mentioned what you're currently doing. Tell us about where you're playing right now, coaching right now, You met Amber Pfizer and stuff. You're in Florida. You're right now. You're kind of doing a little bit of coaching. Doing a little bit of everything. You're playing a little bit too.
Yeah, I actually leave for Indiana tonight to play the Pride in a 2-game series. But I'm coaching in the FGCL league, the Florida Gulf Coast League. Wow, it's a tongue twister. I'm coaching the Siesta Key Finns, and actually we're up for best uniforms, so go vote. But it is a farm ground for these college players to get better. I played in it myself, and I can absolutely say it helped me gain confidence in my pitches. It helped me work on things that during COVID break, I was like lost. Like literally we ended in March and I was like, okay, I gotta be ready by next August. So it really helped me get some live at bats. It helped me meet new people, meeting girls from all different colleges. It's really cool. You're networking. Not only are you networking, you're getting better. You're learning from some of the best. There's All-Americans, national champions, D1 softball coaches out there. And it's a really good farm ground to bring the sport together. I really believe that Ryan is making the big steps to get the sport bigger. And he really cares about these girls. Like he's a genuine human being who's running a genuine program. And I played in it and I've now coached in it, and I can tell you that it is really good for these girls, and I hope more people will do it next year. I know it's growing big and bigger, so yeah.
No question, helping develop players. I mean, baseball's had the same thing for a long time in Florida, both in the Orlando area mostly. But here, this is a pretty cool opportunity for softball. I mean, you probably wish they had this earlier, right?
Oh yeah, I would have totally done it because I don't understand why we can't keep playing. I understand if you're a pitcher and you've thrown like 400 innings that year, but it's a very good farm ground for you to just go out and play. Like go out and be a kid again, go out and play. Everyone's wearing the same jersey. You don't know if you're playing against a girl from Florida State or Florida, and you have no idea. Maybe you know because she has her helmet on from Florida State, but it's just fun. It's like travel ball days, but we're more mature. We're bringing what our programs have taught us into just one little mixed group. It's really awesome.
It really is. It's been tremendous. Had you had a chance to reflect on your career at Oklahoma, and obviously, in particular, this national championship year, a year that's pretty historic that will be remembered for a long time, that follow the game of softball? Have reflected on it?
I haven't had much time. I have been so busy, but there are times where I'm laying in bed and I can like relive, like watching the Lightning win the Stanley Cup. I was just reliving our dog pile, and just watching Mississippi State win, reliving our dog pile. And it's just so, it gives me chills. Like seriously, watching these other teams win, I'm like, wow, we felt that. And you know, people want to say like they're Oklahoma, like it kind of feels like they're supposed to win, but like they don't know the struggle, they don't know the grind that we go through, they don't know that we do the same things as everyone else. And it's all the hard work finally paid off, and all the long practices, all the long workouts, all the hard days at school paid off. Like coach always says like, yeah, you're gonna feel like you're gonna just feel tired now, like during season, but when you're holding up that trophy, none of it matters. Absolutely none of it matters. The only thing that matters is the last game. And everyone was exhausted and we laid it on the line. I don't even know if people were exhausted. Like we were just like getting fuel from like just within ourselves. We were like, okay, let's just grind it out. Like this, we did this all year. We worked for this. So
Well, and as you're the first team to win it as far as Coach Gasso of her national titles to come out of the losers bracket. I know that wasn't the plan, but you ran into a buzzsaw in James Madison. Obviously, was playing tremendous softball, but that's kind of unique about it. You kind of made some history coming from the losers bracket. How were you all able to regroup after that opening loss to come back? You beat Georgia, you beat UCLA on that elimination Saturday, and then you beat JMU twice. And then come from behind to beat Florida State, who took the first game. That was the thing. You were all pushed and challenged, and you overcame all that.
I think the season that we had prepared us for that. We lost against Oklahoma State the first game, and then at that point we could have not taken Big 12. So playing on our backs was something we were prepared for. Playing like we revenged a lot of losses that we've had in the World Series, so that was really cool. I think it worked out how it was supposed to work out. I think we knew we had to play with our backs against the wall, but it didn't feel like that. I don't ever think I felt like we are gonna go home if we don't get this win. Like it was never if we don't get this win. It was like when we win, when we win, we just absolutely believed in each other. I think that's what you got to do when you're in those situations where you can lose or go home. Just say when we win, and like keep that positive thought, keep that in the moment feel. Like you don't want to look too far ahead and you don't want to look behind. You just got to stay in the moment.
What went through your mind there when they recorded the last out and you've just realized, wow, we just did it. We won the national title.
Just overwhelming like emotions, just crying tears of happiness, and just like that was the little girl when I was 10 years old, like watching it myself and then being able to do it. It's just a surreal feeling. Like not many people get to experience that. So I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful that I was able to experience it, but it's all I've ever wanted. I went to OU to win a national championship, but I also am leaving a graduate. I'm also leaving a woman, and I'm leaving with peace in mind that I gave it all I had and I left it all on the field. So it's just still a surreal feeling, like still just tears, like chills.
For the veterans, how much was 2019 the motivation? You played for the national title in 2019, dropping to UCLA, and heck, I'll even include the fact 2020 got abruptly ended, obviously with the pandemic coming. How much did all that contribute to the motivation to this year's team? Because you all came out ready to go, clicking obviously a historic offense, but how much was 19 and even to some extent 20 a motivation to help you in 21?
Well, I'd say 2019 was probably the worst heartbreak I've ever felt in my life. Just feeling like that unsettling, bad taste in your mouth, bad feeling. It was just not a good feeling. And then 2020, when the season ended, you're like, oh my gosh, that's my last memories, losing the national championship and COVID taking away my senior year. And then when you get the word that you're going to be able to have a season again, it's an uncontrollable hunger to go out and play. So that's why I cured my hunger with FGCL, and I was able to get back in pitching shape to be ready. And then in the fall, the freshmen, they absolutely bought in 100%. They were inspiring because they came in with hunger and they came in with the grit and the competitiveness to be what they did this year. We had amazing freshmen on the field this year, and the seniors were able to lead them, and the juniors were able to lead them into the women they are. So it's really exciting that they were able to buy in, because then that's our futures. That's the future of OU softball, and it's in good hands. It's in really good hands. So, yeah.
Describe the competitiveness internally, because Coach Gasso even said this throughout in her press conferences during the postseason, and that's about the competitiveness, wanting the pitchers to want the ball, that nothing was guaranteed. You didn't know if you would pitch in a certain game or if you wouldn't, that you had to earn it every day in practice. Just describe that, because she talked about that a lot, and it wasn't lip service, because Nicole May, you and G, you were a staff, but you also didn't know, you knew if you didn't have a good week of practice that maybe you wouldn't even get to pitch and things like that. So just talk about how was it competitive internally?
Well, I think she just wanted to keep us, I think iron sharpens iron for sure in this situation. Absolutely. Like she never wanted you to settle into a spot, because when you settle in, you're just being whatever. You're not getting better. You're just staying where you're at. And that's not our team was constantly getting better, so we had to come with them. Like our hitters were constantly getting better, pitchers had to stay up with them, and yeah, I mean, if you didn't have a great week in practice, there's one right next to you. So is that constant urgency to be good and urgency to get better. And I think that is what helped our pitching staff. I think pitching staffs are a thing of the future. One pitcher can't do it alone anymore. And seriously, like it was good for me myself to have a freshman pushing me to be better. And Nicole May is not just a freshman. She looks like a vet out there. So having her push me behind was extremely beneficial. And I think the competition makes it exciting. She likes competitors, and if you're a competitor, you're going to be on the field. If you want that ball, you're going to get the ball. You just make it known.
Did you all pitch with a chip on your shoulder? Because obviously you have this historic offense. Excuse me. And everybody's just like, wow, this off. I mean, we had Coach Gasso on here in the fall, and she said this was the best offense I've ever had in the fall. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, wow, that's very high praise. But she obviously was correct. It says the greatest offense maybe ever. But there were people that wondered, well, is this pitching staff good enough to win the national title? Did you all hear that? And did you use that as motivation or have that as a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I think some people can play with that, the chip on their shoulder, and some people can't. I'm one that can. I like it. I enjoy when people tell me that I can't do something, because then I'll just try to show them that I can. But yeah, we heard it. We knew what they were saying. And, we knew, though, that we are good. Our team, like, if we're not shutting people out, if we're not throwing no-hitters, then we're not living up to our hitters' par, probably. That's what probably people are thinking. I definitely would put this pitching staff up against any hitting team in the country, and we would absolutely win.
So let's talk about, you mentioned this historic offense. What's it like pitching and being on a team with this historic offense? Because I've talked to pitchers in the past, and it's preference by saying it's a good problem to have. So nobody's going to feel sorry for you. But there is challenges that come as a pitcher when you do have a historic offense, because they have a lot of long innings and they score a lot of runs, which as a result, as a pitcher, you're on the bench maybe a lot of times and you have to re-warm up. So just talk about that mindset, because it is a challenge when you have an offense like you have, where there's going to be innings where you might not be pitching for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes even 30, 45.
Yeah.
But yes, it's hard. You have to have a plan. You have to have a warm up ready to go in your pocket. Like I have this little 5-minute, or not even 5-minute, 5-second warm up that gets me going. So I don't have to go to the bullpen and re-warm up. But there's sometimes where I feel like I do gotta go pitch a few, because it's been 45 minutes and we've scored how many runs. But yeah, it's tough, because you want to stay in that flow, you want to stay in that heat of the moment. And it's easy to pitch when it's 3 up, 3 down, because you're just in a flow. But when you are scoring that many runs, which is a great problem, and I'm not complaining, definitely you have to be ready to go out there and not look like you're cold.
Yeah, it is unique. And I know pitchers sometimes struggle with that, especially young pitchers, because they might come out the next inning, not know how to warm up, and they come out rusty. And next thing you know, they walk a couple batters and think. So there is a learning curve with that. How long does it take you to learn that? Did it take you a long time to adjust to that, or was that something you could figure out on the fly?
It's something we talked about with Coach Rocha, her explaining okay, if it's a long inning, you need to stay warm and you need to figure out how, and she would help us figure out a plan of what works for us individually. Because one thing that might work for me might not work for Nicole, or might not work for anyone else in the circle. So it was just having that individualized plan that helps you stay warm, helps you stay, because some people might be fine. Some people can go out there and pitch and it be like nothing happened. Or some people like myself, I like to stay warm and I like to stay focused on the game. So I don't want to take my focus away from the game. So I can just do a little warm up and I'm still able to watch the game.
Tell me about the your last home game you pitch, which you start was against Washington, game 2 at Norman. Game is nationally televised on ABC. It's the first ever softball game on ABC. What was your reaction when you found out your game 2 would be on ABC? And is it extra special? Was it? Did you? I mean, what was that like pitching on AB? That's big stage on ABC where making history. You're always going to be the first pitcher. You'll always be remembered in some extent of being the winning pitcher in the first game ever that was televised on ABC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was extra special because it was the first time. I think anytime you're making history of being the first ever is really cool. It was just awesome that ESPN and ABC saw that our sport is growing that much and to give us a nationally televised game. And I didn't feel it though on the mound. I didn't feel that extra pressure. It felt like a normal game, but before and afterwards, it's like, wow, we did that, or wow, we get to do that. It's so cool that we get to do it. So cool that softball gives us these blessings and this platform to be able to be the first ever and be able to spread the game to people that might not always watch it. So the fact that they gave us that opportunity was really cool. I think not extra pressure, but a really cool opportunity.
Pretty cool too that your last home game, to go out on that note. That's not too bad. Obviously, go on to Oklahoma City, but still to that home. Let's talk about kind of what got you interested in playing softball. You're obviously from Land Lakes, Florida, which heck of a pipeline for softball, by the way, especially pitchers. A lot of great pitchers have come from that area. But what interested you in getting into softball?
My brother played baseball. I've always been active. I did gymnastics and karate at the time. And my brother was playing baseball. I always watched him. It looked fun. And I always just naturally had a good arm on myself. Like the moment I tried out for softball, I threw one from center field to home plate. And my dad called me Shannon Cannon. And yeah, I fell in love with the sport watching my brothers play. And then when I started playing it myself, I started watching the World Series on TV and being really inspired by it and being really just having that thought in my mind, like that could be me. I think I'm good enough to do that. I always felt like I was good enough. And I always had that belief in myself. So to be able to live out my childhood dreams is really cool. And being able to like see the growth of where I was at to now is really awesome. And just my brother inspiring me. He played college baseball as well. So we have a baseball softball brother-sister duo.
Where do you play baseball?
The Naval Academy.
It's pretty cool. How did you kind of decide to be a pitcher? I mean, obviously you had a great arm, but you learned how to be a pitcher. And as I mentioned, Land Lakes has a tremendous history of developing, having pitchers. You mentioned Callie Turner is from that area. Aaliyah White, who had just finished at UCF, breaking all these records. I mean, the list goes on and on. What is it about that area that produces talent there?
Well, my pitching coach growing up, Heather Van Landingham, she was awesome. Like, she knew the game very well, and she saw the talent in me and the potential in me and just kept pushing me, even if I didn't see it myself. I started out as an outfielder and shortstop, and people told me I wasn't going to be a pitcher. Heard that 1,000 times, heard that more than nice to hear as a little kid, but I never stopped believing in myself because I loved pitching. I loved it. I wanted the center of attention. I wanted to have the ball. I was like, outfield's boring. I want to be out there. And going to pitching lessons with her and her unlocking all of my energy and like my potential really helped me down the road. I wouldn't say I didn't become a good pitcher though until I was like a sophomore, junior in high school, maybe even later in life.
Yeah, no, I remember you. I mean, I remember talking to Hillary Bear, who was your pitching coach at the time where you were at FIU. Talk about you were kind of a late bloomer in a lot of ways. That the potential was just so wild, even though you're in this monster freshman year at FIU. But you were somebody that was overlooked. You mentioned earlier your height, and I'm sure this is something you'll bring up in your clinic. As you know, a lot of people in your size get overlooked in recruiting. I would assume you were the same way. Was that like a chip on the shoulder as well? That, hey, it doesn't matter what the size is, you could be successful in softball.
Yeah, I didn't start lifting until college, so I was like a scrawny 5'7". I wasn't like I was never I had an athletic build, but I didn't like start weightlifting until college. And imagine if I did, I kick myself in the butt now. But yeah, I that's what I want to tell people. You don't have to be 5'11", 5'10", 6 foot, 5'9" to be a pitcher. You can be my height and learn how to use your body correctly to help you become a good pitcher. I think I have very good mechanics because I'm so small and I'm able to throw the ball as hard as I do. I've been taught great mechanics by Heather, Casey, Hillary, and Rocha. I have a lot of great pitching coaches in my learning from them has taught me how to teach young girls. So yes, I want them to know that you can do it even if you're 5'6", 5'5", you can do it. There's a lot of Rachel Garcia is a small pitcher. There's a lot of pitchers out there that are small and they figure it out.
Right. And I'm sure as you get into college coaching, that's something you'll probably use to your advantage, keeping, in mind, knowing that, don't get caught up in just certain things like size and everything like that, that there might be players that are overlooked because of their size and things like that, that there's more to it than just size. I'm sure that's going to help you when you get into coaching.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I can have a good eye to see who has the potential despite of their size or despite their age. Like, okay, yeah, she's a junior, but she's a really good pitcher. Maybe she's just getting overlooked. Like sometimes I feel like that's why when I was younger, I was like an 8th grader worrying about getting picked up and I'm not even in high school, or a sophomore in high school and I'm not even sure where I want to go to school, and I'm over here and all my friends are committed and I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. And it's a tough feeling to be in that position.
You mentioned Casey Clark Zerby, for those that don't know. She helped you out as a personal pitching coach there. What did you learn from her that helped you kind of get to the level that you got to?
She helps me, same thing with my mechanics and helping me learn how to be safe and efficient without getting hurt. She also helped me learn my changeup. I always feel like I threw I didn't have the feel for a changeup, and then she helped me learn the feel of a changeup. I say that's why some girls don't have a changeup, because they don't have the feel for it, and it has to be taught. The changeup feel has to be taught. It's even if you're taught though, sometimes you might not have the feel for it still. So she was able to help me learn that, and she was able to help me just put my name out there in the there wasn't a portal when I was transferring, but her recommendation is very good on a resume, I want to say. So
yeah, she's had a lot of pitchers there that have gone on to success, so that makes sense, and obviously had a great career herself.
Yes, she did, and she's a phenomenal pitching coach and a great person.
No doubt. I mean, she's coached others like Allison Kime, among others, a ton of D1 pitchers that have gone on and so forth. You end up going to FIU, and that's where you obviously you coached Hillary Barrow was your pitching coach at the time. You have this monster freshman year. You win freshman of the year. You lead FIU to their best year ever. You get to the NCAA tournament. Gainesville against Oklahoma State. I mean, that was like your coming out party. How much did that give you confidence? Because you were successful right away, and that would be big because it would help you eventually end up at Oklahoma down the road, was having that confidence and that success initially there.
Well, I think the beauty of being a freshman is you don't know any better. So I just didn't know any better. I was fearless. I was just playing it like a normal game. I wasn't putting anything extra on it. I wasn't taking anything off of it. I was just playing my normal softball, normal game. And while learning and getting stronger, I think is what helped me be so successful. I think I had the tools. I think I just needed to hone them in and make them stronger. Yeah, when I go back to my freshman year, all I think about is how fearless I was. And I think that's what a lot of pitchers need to have, is that fearlessness. Because I think when sometimes we get too much information, you can start to overthink. And seriously, though, you don't need to. You might face a team 3 times in a weekend in a series, done that a lot of times, and they still can't hit you if you just have that confidence and you have those pitches and you throw your pitches and you don't worry about the other opponent.
Fast forward to the summer of 2018, because I remember I talked to you right after you committed to transfer to Oklahoma, and you talked about the process, what led to that, and obviously making those decisions. It was so unique because at that time, Jen Rocha would end up coming to Oklahoma at the same time. It was like this Florida people coming to Oklahoma. But what was that like when you made that decision to Oklahoma and then making that adjustment, pitching at Oklahoma? Because there is an adjustment period from an academic standpoint. You're going to a different school, and as well as an adjustment on the field as far as playing at Oklahoma and getting used to new teammates, playing different teams and competition. What was that transition like for you?
It was a pretty smooth transition because not only were the coaches very supportive, but the athletes there were very supportive. Nicole Mendez completely just taking me and showing the ropes and helping me, just even when she was in the bullpen. She used to be in the bullpen for a little bit. Absolutely just helping me, like I was like a freshman again, but like not really, because I've played softball. But there was an adjustment period of, this is way different than my last school. Things are run here very differently, but in a great way. So it was humbling. It was exciting. It was a blessing. I know I've always looked at Oklahoma softball with just like big eyes of excitement because of what they've accomplished in the past, and be a part of that, to leave my legacy here, and just put my name in those pools of pitchers with Paige Parker, Kalani, Paige Lowry is just so exciting. The legacy of OU softball pitchers is something a lot of little girls wish they could be a part of. And then when you're a part of it, you're just like, wow,
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
Not to mention Sooner fans, they come in droves, but lots of support and packed houses, but also come scrutiny. I mean, I've been up there in Oklahoma. I've been there, covered that, and I mean, you all are covered like the football team is covered, which means, hey, if you lose one game, some people think it's the end of the world, which is not. But what was that like to handle that, where the expectations are so high?
Well, I think it's just, the expectations of us, but we also held ourselves at that standard as well. Sorry, I got tongue tied. We held our standards there this year. We don't want to lose games. No one does, but we want to revenge those games when we lose them. And yes, our fans, I think that's what they see us there too. I think if they thought we were scrubs, they wouldn't be as hard on us as that. But I love it. I think they're amazing fans, and they just want to see us win too. They get invested and emotional in it just as much as we do. And I think that is what makes Sooner Nation so awesome, is they feel like they're in it with us, and they're right there in the games. They're helping us build momentum. They're helping us build the moments, and getting the crowd involved in the games is really cool. And it's them that makes the momentum for us. So we love our fans, and we also keep ourselves at those standards just like they do.
Do you have a favorite game you pitched while you were there? Is there a game that jumps out at you that you're like, yeah, that was a good one? Or is there, I know it's a lot, obviously national championship and all that, pitching at Oklahoma City, pitching in the Women's College World Series. I mean, I'm sure that's all at the top of the list, right? Like, especially,
Yeah.
what was that like that first time you stepped on the field at Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series in 19?
You just kind of take it all in. You look around and you just are like, this is so cool. And then you're like, okay, I'm here for business. I'm here to win. But it's also like taking you back to your 10-year-old days where you're like, wow, like these girls are so big. They're so cool. Like, everyone looks so much bigger on TV. It's funny, but it's just surreal. I have no words for it. I just have the words of taking me back to when I was a kid, and that's what I wanted, and then I got to live it out.
And you probably passed it on. You mentioned Nicole May, a freshman. You probably gave her some tips and advice, because you've been in her shoes as a young pitcher and moving forward and
Mhm.
things like that. How much does that take pride? You mentioned that tradition of Oklahoma pitchers. How important is that for pitchers like you and G to kind of pass it along to the next group of Sooner pitchers and so forth? Is there such a thing there where, hey, let's pass it on, let's keep this rolling, and kind of pass the baton, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. We want our softball team to keep like Coach. Yes, she's absolutely is the center of it, but we are able to keep that standard. We hold ourselves at a level of such that we want the future generations to do what we did. We want them to keep the name of OU softball going. So it's our responsibility to make sure they understand what it means and what it takes to have championship mindset. And they definitely have a good idea, I think.
No, that's fair. Now let's 5, 10 years from now, and they got the new stadium. Hopefully, I know Coach Gasso's pushing for that, and hopefully, guys, Oklahoma gets that. And people are going to an Oklahoma softball game, and they think of past great players, and your name comes up. What do you want people to say about you and your legacy there?
I want them to say I pitched with fire, that I left it all on the field, and I was a good teammate, and I was a good role model to little girls that want to pitch, and that they loved seeing me pitch out there, and they had a good time watching me, and I was entertaining. And I hope that if they can remember anything, they remember the 2021 team and how much we loved our fans and how much we loved each other and how much of a fun year that was.
That certainly was a fun year and great way for your career to cap off a great career that you had. Shannon Saile joining us here and in the circle. Make sure you go check out their pitching clinic July 25th at the Land O'Lakes Rec Center, 3032 Collier Parkway. For more information, you can email her at Shannon Saile. That's SAILE pitching at gmail.com. You can DM her. Where can they also find, where else they can find you on social media?
I have a Facebook and Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. So just message me on Facebook or message me on my events page on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I have a p1.pitching. That is my pitching link. And then Shannon Saile is my normal Instagram link. I am more able to get to my P1 pitching DMs. It's in my Shannon Saile bio in case you want to find it, just click on it. But yes, I'm able to get to those DMs more than I am the ones in my actual account. So yes, reach out to me. I have registration forms and t-shirts to give out. I would love to get some t-shirts for everyone. So early registration, you get some t-shirts for free. And then, yeah, don't miss out.
It's going to be fun. Free t-shirts. That'll be cool. And I know this is just the beginning, right? You're going to be doing more of these as well in the future as you kind of map this all out as part of your big plan.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting. We're excited for you, Shannon. Congratulations on your success on the field in your career. We're excited about your future success you're going to have here with your clinic and coaching. Thank you so much for taking the time from your busy schedule. Enjoy your time, and we'll hope to do this down the road.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.